Alright, here we have a 1991 Mallard Class C motorhome with a rubber roof, and as you can see that the roof is chalking and that there is several areas that the roof has failed. We have a couple areas where water has infiltrated the cab and the coach. There's a couple areas here on the front of the cab. It's a very classic area for it to leak, and we do have some water damage inside. But this is a nice rig. We'd like to preserve it, make the repairs using the EPDM rubber liquid roof. So we're going to go through this, clean this roof up now. We're going to scrape off some of the loose caulking and check the roof for any areas that we need to do more extensive repair before we pour the liquid roof on. So our first step will be to broom and brush, sweep the caulking or chalking off of the roof, and then we will do a little more extensive work with a putty knife, scraping the loose caulking off of the seams. Anything that'll get lifted up and easily removed, we will remove it so we can get a better repair. As you can see, I've removed the AC unit and set it to the side per direction. I first broom swept and then followed up in areas that needed additional attention with a stiff bristle brush, followed by air compressor to blow the roof clean of loose material, and then in preparation for the acetone, wipe down, and then the rubber coating. Potential problem. Removed all the covers, as you can see there behind me there with the refrigerator, and then after blowing that with the air compressor, I came back with wiped the roof down with acetone. But another thing that I did to preserve and improve this roof was to raise the AC unit up a little higher, and I took 3/8" plywood and made shims and cut off any sharp corners. And what I did with this was I separated the rubber from the existing roof deck and inserted these shims between the rubber and the existing roof. And then my plan is to set the AC unit back on there, and essentially these shims will form a dam and keep any water from coming in. And here's an example of what I was doing. I'm going to insert the shim that I had showed previously in between the rubber, existing rubber, and then after this is in place, I will glue everything back down, and this area will receive coating with the EPDM liquid rubber. And here's an example of what we did. You see that the seat for the AC unit is up about 3/8" and forming a tight seal. Okay, this is the wipe down with the acetone. We remove any of the remaining loose caulking or chalking, and you can see by the shadows that this has taken pretty much the better part of the day. It's about, I'd say, about 6 hours of work with a helper. And we're preparing to put the liquid roof down in the morning. Okay, this is how the product arrives. It took 5 business days to ship, and here is a label that was on there. The product came without any damage, so we were ready to go, and it comes in a 5-gallon barrel, and we bought 2 rolls of the butyl tape that you saw there as well for any additional repairs. This is the catalyst. When you open up the 5-gallon bucket, there is a plastic layer that separates out the liquid rubber from the catalyst. This bottle here is the catalyst, and so to commence mixing we have to cut out the layer between the two, and then we'll go ahead. We used a 5-gallon mixer, 4-inch mixer per instructions on a 1/2-inch drill, and mixed for about 10 minutes. That was adequate to get the catalyst fully integrated into the liquid rubber. The catalyst is dyed purple and doesn't affect the final color of the product, but it's there to help you determine when it's fully mixed. So instructions were to get a vortex going, which you see here, and the 1/2-inch drill had no problem doing that. And we add the mixture, add the catalyst, and start to work it in, as you can see here. Once it was fully mixed, again about 10 minutes to mix, we let the product sit for about an hour while we finish prep on the roof. Working time, they said, was about 4 hours, and we had no problem putting the product on the roof within that time frame. And here's the product fully mixed. Using a brush, we started applying the EPDM liquid rubber around the AC unit and the various vents. Using the brush, it was a little difficult because it's rather thick consistency of cake batter. A small foam roller might be a better way to apply this. This pushed the brush around pretty good. But it is workable. It is self-leveling, and it's kind of a you just have to feel how thick it goes on. Put it too thin, it doesn't. You can tell if it's too thick. You can still move it around with the brush, so you get a nice layer, and then it levels out. It's pretty easy to work with. Again, I think a roller would work better. So we're just going around all the various openings first, and then we'll come back and with a medium nap roller and put the rest of the product on. Use the helper to help me get the 5-gallon bucket up onto the rig. It was without spilling anything, so we tied a rope to it and we hauled it up. I wouldn't suggest trying to lift it up on the line. And you can see it kind of grabbing the brush there. Again, I think a roller would be a better way to apply it. They suggest a screed to push it around, but I didn't have a screed, so this method, I had seen others' videos and it was working, so I thought I'd give it a shot. But you can see the raised rubber roofing that I made the day before, and that's going to make a nice little insurance there to make sure that the AC unit does not leak. Okay, and Class C motorhomes, the Mallards have a tendency to have some problems in the cab over, so I took the brush and really worked the material in, took some extra care. I had some water damage on the inside and had taken a couple weeks prior to rebuild some of the roof structure, so I really wanted to make sure that we got a great and adequate coating in this area. So going along all the seams where the existing rubber connects to the fiberglass structure and really getting a good coating in there. I taped off the edges along the seams and made sure that I got product in between that area there. And again, we got a rain predicted within 24 hours of this application, so I'm really going to be interested to see how well this works. Using the paintbrush and going around all the vents and everything was probably took longer than the actual rolling out of the product on the rest of the roof. But I can't stress enough how important this is. This is the source of many water leaks in many motorhomes, so this is the area to take your time with. Okay, here we are getting ready to roll out the product. It took about 45 minutes to an hour to get all the vents, and I anticipate the rolling to go much more quickly based on the other videos that I've watched. So using a roller, I didn't have a screed as I mentioned earlier. We take the product and we're going to pour out a bead of the product onto the roof, and then we're going to work it out with the roller and spread that out. And we're working from the front of the rig back to the ladder. And again, it's more of an art than a science. You start working it out, and you get a sense for how thick it is and the thickness you need for coating. So, surprised at how much this product actually coated. We got done using the product. I had about 90 ounces left, about 2 peanut butter jars full, and I went ahead and filled those 2 peanut butter jars up and put them in a baggie, and I've got them in the freezer in case I need any more of the product. I read on the website that you can slow the cure process down by putting the product in the freezer. So if I do have any problems developing in the future, I can pull that out and make a repair to the roof. Again, I believe this is about 40 minutes into it, and you can see the coating it's been pretty easy application at this point. And again, it's just working the material out across the roof, making sure that you get it all coated. And I can see as this cures how this is going to be nice and waterproof. I took the roller and I kind of wedged the material in between the side of the RV and the molding that clamps down the existing rubber roof. You can see we've placed the once we got the AC unit area coated, we went ahead and replaced the AC unit. We just set the AC unit onto the opening with a new gasket per recommendation, and we'll come back in a day and tighten it down. So this is after a day's application. Actually, this is the next day, and we did get some bubbling in the product, which they were saying at the EPDM office that the bubbling was normal and to be expected, and that it would lay down. So we're hoping that will happen as it cures. Not more than a little rain. We got quite a bit of rain. It was actually almost an inch of rain through the storm. This is about 3 days afterwards, and I think the cold weather is keeping this from curing. But I'm happy to report that there was no leakage in the RV, and